What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another video. Give me the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Women over the age of 45 are dying at an alarming rate of something called broken heart syndrome. Now, when I first heard about this, I thought it was just some BS written like a blog or whatever it may be. But as I started to get into it, I'm seeing some very credible sources, and a lot of people are talking about this. The one I'm using today, I'm going to get into the article in a second, but the one I'm using today is Medical Press. I've seen articles by WebMD. I've seen articles by Mayo Clinic. So some pretty credible sources. Now, when I say this affects women, I say that because when they find this in human beings, 88% of the time it's found in women. Only 12% of the time it's found in men. And when I say this is a large study, I'm saying that this study was taken over a 10-year course, right? So this is a 10-year study using 135,000 different victims of this thing called broken heart syndrome that's on the rise in Western civilizations. Now, when we look into this, according to the article that I'm going to get into in a second, you see that it enlarges valves in the heart due to anxiety, depression, and stress. Now, a lot of women nowadays are alone and they're saying that they're happy. But when you look at the uptick, when you look at the amount of women that are on antidepressant medications more than ever, when you look at the amount of women that are on anti-anxiety medications more than ever. So look into the numbers. Don't allow somebody to tell you something and to tell you they're happy. Look into the studies, because this is what I do as a person, right? This is what I do. I do this all day. And I'm trying to tell y'all, we are not, as Red Pill content creators, as Manosphere content creators, we are not lying to you about these things. We're actually reading these studies and telling you what it is according to the numbers. So you guys can do your own research, but I'm going to go ahead and get into the article. Broken heart syndrome is on the rise, especially among older women. Broken heart syndrome, a life-threatening condition whose symptoms mimic a heart attack, is on the upswing according to new research that shows the sharpest increase among women 50 and older. Now, we know for sure that it comes from stress, anxiety, and depression. We know that for sure, right? So what can make you stressed out? What can make you depressed? And what can make you kind of anxious that happens around the age of 50? Well, your parents are on the way out. Right? Your parents are on the way out, and that can be stressful financially and emotionally. Now, financially, we know that women, single women particularly, don't make as much money, regardless of this boss babe fallacy that a lot of people have and try to promote. Single women don't make as much money as married women, and they for sure don't make as much money as single men. So, you know, that's going to be stressful financially for you. Also, women are more social and emotional beings. So during this time period, they probably suffer a little more emotionally, and they don't have somebody to lean on because maybe they divorced the guy. 70% of the time the women are divorcing the men, and around 50, that's probably when it's happening. If you divorce your husband, now you have nobody that's going to support you during this hard time. You know what I mean? So let's continue the article. Published Wednesday in the Journal of the American Heart Association, the study examined 135,000 cases of broken heart syndrome in U.S. hospitals from 2006 to 2017. So that is a huge study. Like, that is a massive study. 135,000 cases over an 11-year period. So forget a 10-year period, an 11-year period. It found a steady annual increase among both women and men, with women making up 88.3% of cases. Now, I think this might be a little bit skewed, because I was thinking about this earlier, and I think if men are feeling anxious, depressed, and stressed out, super stressed out, we are more likely to end ourselves. I think men tend to be more pessimistic, and that's because society doesn't really help men or care about men. And I know that might be news for some of the women listening, but if you're a man, you pretty much understand that when we turn 18, if you're not productive, society will watch you starve and die on the side of the road if you're a man. So we don't really have, and before the Manosphere, we never really had any television shows. We never had anybody tell us how to deal with anxiety or depression, or if you're stressed out. They just tell us this: you got to thug it out, right? That's pretty much what our medicine as men, our mental health advice is: thug it out. That's pretty much it. So for men that are stressed out, anxious, and depressed, they just decide to end it sometimes. And like look at, what are you gonna do? Go to social media? Like, look at Tyrese. Tyrese went to social media and crying because he couldn't see his daughter, and he became a meme.
This is all I got. This is all I got. Don't take my baby, okay? I've been away from my baby for 2 months. I just want want my baby, and no one's listening because no one's in the courtroom. I'm not doing anything illegal.
So there's definitely not the same support for men. Now, I don't think that he should have put that on social media. But if there's one thing a man can cry about, it's the fact that he's not allowed to see his daughter, right? But so society just doesn't support men as much as women. Now, women are more likely to thug it out through these symptoms, probably because women tend to be more hopeful. They tend to be more optimistic, and I think they can do that because society gives women a safety net. Not only do I think it's innate, I think it's innate a little bit for women to have that. That's why I also think that women are more likely to be followers of religion and astrology and all these things, because I think that goes into their hopefulness, their optimism. But they get to do that because society does lend them a safety net. We don't let women go to the lowest of the lows a lot of times. Like if a woman goes online or she goes on Facebook or social media and she complains about her mental health, she will get help. People will reach out to help her. People will reach out to give her encouraging words. People will buy her a pizza. People will send her money on Cash App. That's things that are exclusive to women, and I don't think that women understand that those are not privileges that men have access to. So when we talk about certain privileges, that's very exclusive to women as a privilege, and I think that's a pretty big privilege. The overall increase wasn't unexpected, as the condition has become increasingly recognized amongst medical professionals, said Dr. Susan Chan, the study's senior author. But researchers were taken aback to find the rate of the condition was at least 6 to 12 times higher in women ages 50 to 74 than it was in men or younger women. Now, again, younger women are less affected, probably because they still got that male attention. I'm trying to tell y'all, and I always say this, the only thing worse than getting male attention that you don't want is when that attention completely stops. And that's when you get older. That's when you hit the wall. That's when you have less male validation coming your way because you are just less attractive. And a lot of women try to act like they don't want that male attention when the truth is they do want male attention. They just don't want it from men that they don't find attractive. When they get that male attention from men they don't find attractive, they try to call it harassment, but it comes with the territory. It's like Kanye West. He's a celebrity. If the paparazzi are trying to take pictures of him while he's in his house, I think that that's crossing a boundary. But it comes with the territory of being a celebrity, right? So I think that's part of it. I think that, again, those women that are older aren't getting the same attention. They're dealing with their parents maybe going away, and they're dealing with their maybe divorce. While the study was done before the rise of COVID-19, Chen said, the stress of the pandemic has likely led to a rise in the number of recent cases of broken heart syndrome, many of them undiagnosed. We know there have been profound effects on the heart-brain connection during the pandemic. We are at the tip of the iceberg in terms of measuring what those are, she said. Now, I completely agree with her. During this pandemic, if you look at who was affected the most, a lot of women lost their jobs. A lot of women became dependent on the government. A lot of women were the ones not paying their rent when it was due because they had that, that moratorium, or I forgot what it was, where they were allowing people to not pay their mortgages. A lot of the people who weren't paying the mortgages were women. So when you look at what happens afterwards, who knows what those effects are going to be? You're going to have a lot of jobless women who believed before that they were single, independent people. The government is stripping away a lot of those benefits, and we'll see how that affects everybody else mentally. But I guarantee you, if you're an older woman and you are in that situation, because I go out and I go to Walmart, I see a lot of older ladies. As I go to McDonald's, Social Security is on the decline. I'm seeing a lot of older ladies at McDonald's, at Walmart, and some of those women lost those jobs during that time. A lot of health risks for you to be outside when there's a pandemic. So I think a lot of that went into maybe more older women or women in this age group having that, again, broken heart syndrome. Dr. Aaron Mikos, who helped write the AHA's scientific statement but was not involved in the new research, said the findings should underscore how important it is for doctors to screen patients for mental health conditions. She also called for more research to understand a disease about which little is known. We should all be worried about the rise, said Mikos, an associate professor of medicine and director of women's cardiovascular health at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in Baltimore. The study, she said, serves a potent reminder that everyone needs to be proactive about their mental health, especially those with cardiovascular risk. We can't avoid all stress in life, but it is important for patients to develop healthy coping mechanisms. Some strategies include mindful meditation. Unless you in California, ain't nobody meditating. Yoga, exercise. The obesity rate is like 78% or 79% of women, and I think 70% of men are overweight or obese. So not very many people are actually exercising, eating healthy. Get real. We're in America. Cheese and bacon on everything. Let's be completely honest. Getting adequate sleep and cultivating social relationships for support systems. Now, that last one is huge, I think, because what we've seen after the pandemic is a lot of people took hits on their social relationships. A lot of people don't want to go outside anymore. A lot of things are becoming social media. A lot of people used to work in offices, and that's where they got majority of their social interactions, but now they're working from home, so they don't really leave their house as much as they would like to. So in terms of building social relationships, I think that that's also suffering in America, so that's huge. Pretty much what I'm saying here is like, we got to stop taking everything word of mouth, right? When we look at these surveys that measures happiness because somebody can just check a box, you'll see a lot of women that are single, that are older, saying that they're happier than ever. But then you look at the real studies and you see that women are dying of broken heart syndrome, right? You look at the studies and you see that women are on more antidepressants and more antidepressant and more anti-anxiety medications than ever before. So actually look into the studies and, don't go just off word of mouth, because that can be very dangerous. People will lie. People will lie and tell you that they're happy. They will put on a fake smile. You see it happen all the time. Sometimes the most depressed people put on the front that they're actually happy. It gets to the point where the people closest to them can't even tell that they're actually not happy. But when you look at someone's heart, that can't lie. When you look at the fact that they're on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, that doesn't lie. So that's the truth. And I think a lot of women, they choose the path of career because they're sold this dream, and we talk about this all the time. They choose that path, and then they go into very high-stress situations that women just are not naturally built for. I think that they go into those high-stressful situations, and then they want to opt out because then they want a family, but now they want a man that makes just as much as them because that's natural for women. Women are hypergamous. They like to date men across or above, so they want a man that makes just as much as them that are around their age, but those men have more options, and they tend to want younger women. So those women go all in those careers, and when they hit that age of 35, when they finally want to settle down and have that family so they can have that perfect life that they dream of, they realize all the men are taken or are uninterested. Not only that, but then once that's out the window, you pretend happy and realize that you have to work until the age of 65. Do you truly want to be at the top of a law firm working 80 hours a week until you're 65 years old? For most women, I think that answer will be no. I think women will do that and play with that until a certain age, and then they will desire a family. Now, will they be able to get that family? You see women freezing their eggs. Is that a good way to go about it? I don't think so. We know that the most important component of a child's life is having the father around, and if the father isn't around because you froze the eggs of some guy that you don't even have any connection with, now you're working an 80-hour-a-week job or 60-hour-a-week job and expecting yourself to be a good mother. That's going to add more stress to your plate. Not only that, but you're going to have an underdeveloped child because that's just what it is. Same with men. If a man's working 80 hours a week, it's going to be hard for him to be a good parent. That's just how it works. That's the sacrifice. But traditionally speaking, there were women in the position that would take care of those children, and the man could come home and be a part of the life, and they could balance that out. But now that we don't have that, we have a lot of women wanting to go out and do their own thing. We see that those women are lying to other women. They're lying about their happiness. We see people buying wine. We see people having cats. We see people on antidepressants like they goddamn M&Ms, right? And this is the truth of the matter. It's a harsh reality that I hope people will wake up to because it is deadly serious. Till next time.
My boo, I'm just here for the rendezvous, and I came the whole damn groove, cause I've been feeling like you want me to. He say stop saying I'm so I can't help myself when I pull up.